Welcome to the second installment in the Combine and Design series. I'm Joyce Lundrigan of Methodist Hill Quilt Studio. In the first video, we used point-to-point triangles to create border and corner patterns for wide borders. In this video, we will again be using point-to-point triangles to create border and corner patterns, but these patterns will work for smaller borders. We'll be using draw pattern, draw line, and order join features in Creative Studio 7 to create the patterns. With this method, you'll learn how to make patterns that will work with border corner feature or using apply because the border repeats are point to point. I think these sets will look better when the patterns used have some contrast, so I am demonstrating the method using a few of my new crosshatch patterns as the base pattern and then a smaller triangle pattern for contrast. Here are 4 examples of corners and repeats, and you'll notice that one of them is gold. And that's because I made the set from patterns from the Store tab, and I'll show you how to do that in this video as well. Remembering that because they're gold, I can't stitch them, but I can play with patterns from the Store tab and set them up in border corner, and I'll show you how to do that, or to set up a whole layout so you have a visual. Then you can go buy the patterns if you decide that they are ones you want to use. So let's see how this is done. First set that we're going to put together will be this one using the crosshatch channel and a sorbet purl and a draw line. I have my grid set at 3 inches and snaps are on. So first in my project tab, I'm going to find my base triangle crosshatch pattern, click on draw pattern. I'm going to draw this to be 12 inches, so it'll be a 12 by 6 pattern when I'm done, and click across the 4 squares, right click, and then right click again to exit draw. Then I'm going to select draw line and click from right diagonally and then back to the start. In order for a pattern to be a point-to-point pattern, it has to be on the same plane and stitch from left to right. So we needed to get from the right side after we place the triangle and back over here so that now we can place the contrasting triangle, and we'll select the sorbet purl in our project tabs, click on draw pattern, and click from left diagonally back to the right, close and exit drawing. Now, if you want to be sure that the stitching order is going to work so that the triangle base crosshatch stitches first, select that pattern and click on order join. We'll select the pattern, right click, save pattern, and we can save that to our database. Check border and corner. I've already saved these to my database, so I'm not going to save and close. You should save and close. Now to make the matching corner pattern, then with the sorbet purl pattern selected, click on draw pattern and click from the bottom right diagonally and back across 2 grid squares, which will make it 6 inches by 6 inches, and it matches this border repeat. And it starts and ends in the lower right corner, so it will work in border corner feature. Then you can select that pattern, right click, and save pattern, and do the same thing, which is to save it as a border corner, uncheck point to point, and save it to your database. To do this particular one, that is a different triangle pattern, then this crosshatch pattern is used, and we'll have to do something a little bit different for that. So with the pattern selected, we'll click on draw pattern and click that pattern across 4 squares so that it's a 12-inch triangle. Then I need to change grid size to 1/4 of an inch and select draw line. And I'm going to create a channel here by clicking out a 1/4 inch up to the top and a 1/4 of an inch at the peak and back down to the left-hand side, a 1/4 inch away from where the base triangle is, and right click again to close draw. Then select your triangle pattern and click on draw pattern, and then complete that pattern so that it will stitch from left to right. Right click to close and again to exit. Now this pattern is now inset, and you'll want that to start out here and not be inset. So we would need to draw a 1/4 inch line so that it will start out here. So to make sure that it stitches as we want, then we need to click on order join with that little 1/4 inch segment selected so that that becomes the first pattern stitched, and do an order join. And now you'll see it starts here and it's going to end over here. So you can select that pattern, right click, save, as we did in the other one. To make the matching corner pattern, then we'll select the pattern and do as we did before, which is to click the 6-inch pattern, and I'm changing the grid back, start bottom right, click up and back, right click and right click again to close. Now when you go to save this pattern, it's going to be a half an inch bigger, and so you want it to match the same size as your corner. So you could do two things. You can either resize your border repeat here in selected pattern properties, remembering that when you draw on the CAD, your locks are off, unlike when you drag a pattern to the CAD and the lock is on. So if you want to change a pattern and keep it symmetrical, click that lock, and then you can change this pattern to 12 by 6, and it will automatically size it the 6 to keep it symmetrical because the lock is on. Now you can save these patterns as a set as well. So to do the last one, which is with the curvy, it's a little bit different. Let's find this curvy crosshatch pattern and click on draw pattern and click across 12 inches, right click, and again to close and exit. Then we're going to use draw arc instead of draw line, and it will kind of mimic this arch when we're done. And this is why I have the grid set at 3 inches, so that I have a halfway point to click for my middle of the arc. So we'll click the ending point of that triangle. We're going to click the second point as the middle of our arc. Third point is at the peak, then middle of the arc, and back to the beginning on the left. Right click and right click again to close draw arc. Then find your pattern that you want to use as your contrast, click on draw pattern, and do as we did before, right click. Because I only right clicked once, then I can just continue to draw that corner, right click, and then exit. And once again, we can click this and do an order join to make sure that it stitches in the order that we want. With these patterns saved, then we can set them up using border corner feature. So now let me show you how to do this from the store. You may need to search for a triangle, and I have done that. So let's find the curvy crosshatch pattern. I can select it and then click on Draw Pattern, right-click and right-click again to close. Then I can draw my Draw Arc the same way we did in that last one. And you'll see that's black because the Draw Arc is a stitchable pattern, where the pattern that comes on from the store is gold, which is unstitchable. Then we need to find the contrasting pattern, and we'll use this Tulips and Pearls. Click on Draw Pattern, right-click, create your corner pattern, right-click, and then right-click again to close and exit. These patterns are not in our project yet, so you would need to select the pattern. You can do your order join to make sure that they're stitching the way you want. Right-click, Save Pattern. Remember to uncheck Database if you're saving something that you've created from the store. You don't want to save gold patterns that are unstitchable to your database. We'll call this Test Tulip Border and save and close. And we'll select the corner, right-click, Save Pattern, and then you can call this Test Tulip Corner, save and close. And now both patterns are in our project tab. Select our corner pattern, hold down Control, select our Test Tulip border, click on Border Corner, and you can concatenate and set these up as you would any other border corner. The difference being that your gold patterns that you've saved to your project obviously cannot stitch. If you decide that you like them and you want to buy them, you'll need to recreate these patterns so that they're saved to your database and so that they are not gold and unstitchable. One last thing, back to the store. If you hold down Control key in the Store tab, you can't multi-select to concatenate there, which is why you needed to save these patterns into the Project tab, and then you could hold the Control key down and multi-select to concatenate. So I hope you enjoyed watching this demonstration and have fun combining and designing your own. Till next time, thank you.